Well, with me now is Seref Isler from the BBC's Turkish service. Welcome to the programme. This involvement of the unions turns up the heat just one more notch, doesn't it?
It definitely does, because previously we knew that the third largest union, KESK, the Confederation of Public Workers Unions, would be attending the strikes. That was confirmed yesterday. But now a second one has decided to attend it. Now, unions are not incredibly strong, at least they're not as strong as they used to be in Turkey. However, in terms of numbers, of course, it adds to the public in the square. So it is definitely a numbers game.
And also it adds legitimacy, no doubt, to a protest where you could write it off as being young people with nothing better to do.
Absolutely, but you know, these young people had always been complaining that they had a myriad of reasons as to why they were on the streets, and anyone with a grievance had been taken to the streets. And well, workers have had their fair share of grievance with the Prime Minister as well. So I think at this stage it was more of a wait and tell game for them, and when they saw that the protesters were not leaving, they decided to take to the streets and voice their concerns as well.
It also shows that there is a sense of urgency in Turkey right now. Where's that coming from?
Well, the Turkish constitutional system, the Turkish way of doing things, and the Turkish way of work rules had been amended, had changed for a while. So I think at this stage the workers felt that their rights were not being protected, and they thought that this was just a perfect time when these protests were going on to join in.
Well, many people have said Erdogan was, after all, supposed to be democratically elected. Why not just wait until the end of his term? Why cause this trouble now?
Well, they would not see it as a trouble, but...
no, sure, but it runs a risk, doesn't it?
It does, it does. I mean, it does run the risk of hurting the economy, because tourism, for example, is a big thing, and it's you know, hurting that economy. But you know, he has several years in power still, and he wants to change the constitutional system to introduce a presidential system. So I think at this stage people were a bit worried that they might just not be able to vote him out of office if the system were to change.
Has life substantially changed for Turkish people in the last few years with a number of bills that he has introduced and implemented, which they may find, many of them, unpalatable?
Well, social life definitely has changed, and there were a lot of bills that people did not necessarily agree with, the most recent one being the alcohol one. They might seem trivial. However, in terms of the Turkish lifestyle, they definitely did make an impact, and at this stage I think people were a bit worried that their personal lives were starting to get affected, so their social lives were affected, and also their work lives, because the union laws were changed, the labour laws were changed as well.
Thank you very much indeed.